Welcome everyone to class today. Today is our 7th day in our rhetorical analysis unit. If you are not with us in class, if you look at the second slide, you'll be able to see that we're doing 3 main things in the classroom. The first one, for our academic notes, we will learn how to cite when I don't give you the citations. Then we'll look at a couple of rhetorical essay samples in addition to the one we looked at last class period, so you know how to write rhetorical analysis essays. I'll go over some key points of writing your claim or your thesis for this paper, and then give you lab time to work. So if you look at this slide in the academic notes, one of the professors at Salt Lake Community College, her name is Anne Canavan. She wrote an article entitled Citations, Why, When, and How. So by clicking on the link, it will take you to SLIC's Open Classroom. And once you get there, I want you to read it carefully and pay attention to how to cite in different formats. And when you are asked to cite, this is going to not only prepare you for this this paper, but certainly the unit number 3 when we get into research paper writing. So the assignment is to pick a passage from the article that you have selected to do your rhetorical analysis essay on. And you are going to look at that passage from the text, and then in your academic notes, I want you to practice, number 1, summarizing the article and citing it at the end. The second one is to paraphrase a passage from the article and cite it at the end. And finally, quote a passage from the text and cite it at the end. So you'll be able to learn how to do that by following the instructions in the article. The other thing, you'll notice that there is a link in the article to the Purdue OWL MLA guide for citations in that style. This slide talks about why in the world we have to cite anyway. There are 2 parts to citing to make sure that you are not guilty of plagiarism. The first is to give credit within your text. Oftentimes textbooks will call it one of 2 things. They'll call it in-text citations. You've probably heard your teacher use that term before. Sometimes textbooks use the term parenthetical citations, and it means the same thing. So that is learning how to cite both within MLA and APA within the text. The second part of citing accurately is to make sure that the information, the complete citation, is listed on a works cited page at the end of your text. For your essay number 2, of course, you're only using 1 article, so you're not going to have an extensive citation. It will just be the MLA citation for the article that you find. So with that, you should be able to understand that once you start working on paper number 2, whenever you pull passages from your article as evidence, if it's an entire summary, you will have an in-text citation at the end, done correctly. Any quotes and any paraphrase should have page numbers. So today, if you will turn in your packet, I've included some other samples of rhetorical analysis essays that's written. One was actually from my neighbor. She asked me to go over a paper. She was taking an online English 1010 class from BYU, Idaho. And it's a little bit longer than ours is, but if you look at it, you'll be able to see a couple of things from Amy's article that she wrote. Number 1, it's extremely organized. The paragraphs are developed extensively, and hers is centered around the appeals, ethos, pathos, logos. Now in your essay, you get to choose what you want to say, what stylistic decisions your author made to make the text work or not work. And so you might not be using ethos, pathos, logos, but you can still organize your your essay the same way that Amy did. And I'm here at home, I don't have the copy of the art booklet. There's another one in there, you can look at that as well. So as you look at Amy's article and also the other one that I included in the packet, I hope you notice that this is an essay that is extremely organized. It's recipeed in the sense that you follow a formal thesis sentence throughout the body of your paper, and you follow a prescribed way to write that thesis sentence, which we will go over in just a few minutes. The other thing about the style of your essays, I hope you recognize that the essays are academic, of course, written in third person, and the text or the writing is clean, concise, and relevant. So whenever a teacher asks you to write a longer paper, remember for our essay, you have to write 4 complete pages, at least 4. So for a paper like this, that means you have to move beyond the traditional 5-paragraph essay to accomplish that. So for us, I've already told you from our last lesson that the introduction would be 2 paragraphs long. In the introduction, you'll be talking about the content and the context of the article, including your thesis sentence. And then in the second paragraph of the introduction, you will summarize the entire essay the same way that you've done 3 other times in this class, learning how to write summary paragraphs. But then when you move to the body, whatever rhetorical tools you use, just know that each tool can be multiple paragraphs. So that way you have lots of paragraphs in your essay rather than just 5. And then when we return from our break, I will talk to you about the conclusions. So here is a detailed way to write a claim to make it work for a rhetorical analysis essay. You'll notice that the sample on the right-hand column of the slide covers the checklist on the left-hand side. So make sure your thesis is a claim. What about the text? What's the text doing? How did the author achieve his or her purpose? That's where you move into rhetorical terms, and those will set up the body of your paper. Why is it significant? And then make sure that your thesis at the end is arguable. And what I mean by that is that it is a complete sentence, that it is an opinion sentence, and it makes sense, it's logical, and gives structure to your upcoming essay, and shows that you fairly assess the credibility of the article as well. So look through that sample. This slide gives you an example of a first paragraph. So these same characteristics on the left-hand side should be found within the context of your entire introduction. And you'll notice, I'm not going to take time to read them to you, you can do that yourself, but you'll notice that the components of an opening paragraph or a rhetorical analysis essay is color-coded to match what's included, and you can see how that's done within the context of a written paragraph for the opening. Okay, with that in mind, your assignment today is to write your opening 2 paragraphs, the introduction for your rhetorical analysis essay. Use the samples that we have looked at in class. Use these slides, particularly the last 2 or the last 3, to figure out the order. The other thing that you can use as resources, remember you were to have completed your chart, rhetorical organization chart for your essay. That's part of your assignment today. And that chart, we are actually taking a score on. I'm going to be looking over it in class, so you will need to make sure when you return that you bring that to me. The other 2 things that will be turned in today are the summary paragraph from the academic notes of last time, and something else that I can't remember, but it is posted in your Canvas notes that you can check out. So enjoy your break. Make sure you get this done, because when we come back, we will quickly write the body and talk about conclusions to get ready for peer groups in your rhetorical analysis essay. Have a great break. Thank you.